Hey y'all, I'm Blaine Phillips.
And I'm Phillips-LeVan.
We're married, like just a minute ago, but we've been together for 14 years.
We have a teenage daughter.
Which means she's basically an adult, right?
We're also growing a business on the side together.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Through all of that, we've learned how to improve so many aspects of our lives and show up in an amazing way.
So we decided to host a podcast to share our journey with you.
It's called Let's Do Life Together, because that's just what we want to do with you.
So if you could use some tips and tricks on how to make life a little smoother,
then you're in the right place.
Come on in and let's do life.
Happy New Year!
Wait, let me do it again. I did it.
We're so high tech over here. That was a fancy cell phone noise to say Happy New Year.
Don't tell them.
Oh, don't tell them.
We could have had one of those things.
We could have had one of those things. We don't have one of those things. So instead, we have a cell phone. You can do everything with cell phones these days, right? Anyway, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy 2020.
Oh, boy.
Happy new decade. Do you remember? Let's take a moment to think about. It was 20 years ago when some of us were around thinking the world was going to crash. Do you remember that? We were heading into the 2000s and computers and nothing was going to work and everything was going to crash and it was going to be bananas. And
Y2K.
Y2K. Did that just take you back for a minute? Y2K. And yet, here we are 20 years later.
So Y2... What is it?
Oh, boy.
Y2K20?
Right? No, that's not it. All right. You stop while you're ahead.
YK20.
YK20. Nope. You stop while you're ahead. And here we are. Cell phones work just fine because they made a horn noise just for you. And we are here to wish you a Happy New Year. I hope that you enjoyed a wonderful holiday season with your family, with your friends, or maybe with no one at all and by yourself. Whatever the holiday season means to you to make it happy, I hope it was that. And if it wasn't, let's leave it in the past and move on. Although that doesn't really work since today we're going to be talking all about the past.
Are we?
Yeah.
We could talk about our predictions for the next 20 years.
That's not this episode. Ready? No. Oh boy, always trying to change up the plan. No. In this episode, we are going to talk about a year in review. Our year in review, to be exact. We haven't done this yet ourselves, so we are going to be doing it right here, live, with each other, with you. While we're all friends, we're going to be talking about the good, the not so good, the things we want to work on, and then we'll talk you into how we look ahead into the new year and kind of our process and what we're doing. So, in full disclosure, we are recording this a few days before the new year. So we are technically still in 2019, so we can technically still review 2019. I mean, although you can do it anytime, right? So we thought it would be cool just to take a look back over the year with you. It's something we do anyway. It's a good practice to look back. What did you accomplish? What do you want to tweak going into the year? So we're going to do that with you right now. You ready?
Let's do it.
You want to start us off?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go.
It was pretty good.
Oh, boy. That's the answer always. Ask him or Sienna. The answer is, it's pretty good. How was school today? Pretty good. How was work? Pretty good. So apparently 2019 was?
Pretty good.
So
we did a lot.
Let's get a little more specific there, brother.
I mean, I think we had a few significant things happen, or big things that kind of changed our whole kind of lifestyle, really.
I agree. A couple big things, and that is not typical for our years. I mean, normally it's just a kind of status quo-y kind of stuff. I mean, there's moments, but we had a couple big things this year that
we didn't plan for them.
No, we did not plan for them. A year ago, standing here, we would not have predicted a couple of the big game changers that happened this year. Maybe they were buried deep down in our hearts, but we definitely did not plan for them going into the new year.
Which I think kind of feeds into, how we look ahead and how we look at the new year. So it's not, we didn't have a goal to make these big things happen, but we just allowed them to happen.
Yeah, I think we made space for them to come into our life.
Yeah, and they were independent. Well, I don't know. They kind of worked with some goals, but they weren't specific things that we mapped out at the beginning of the year. So, all right, we're going to do this.
Because we do like to do that. Part of our planning going into the new year's, we do map out the knowns, the things that we know or we want to make happen. And we'll talk more about that later, but these things weren't. So let's just dig in. I think we'll kind of look at it as like bigger categories, and then we'll just talk through. We're just having a conversation with you like we always like to do. Let's start out with health and just kind of look at health overall. I think back to a year ago. It was last January. We've talked about this in multiple episodes before, but just that I wanted to do a Spartan race. We didn't know how to train for that. Once I bamboozled Jason into doing it with me, we went and searched for a place to do that. So that actually happened last January, or this January 2019, where we found a gym, a place to train. And unbeknownst to us, that had a big impact on our entire year. It trickled through everything, really.
Yeah, that it sparked change, significant change in our kind of approach to physical activity and exercise and just kind of our lifestyle. I mean, we shifted a lot of things. So from the day-to-day, like our daily schedule, where we were getting up in the morning and working out in our living room, to joining this gym and, rushing home from work to go to class, as we call it. So really kind of shifted our whole approach to fitness, I think.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, we went from working out in the comfort of our living room in our PJs looking, well, not necessarily in our PJs, but I just whatever at 5 a.m. to leaving the house. And I still work out at home on certain days, and I'm still a big fan of that. And it has a place in my heart forever and still a place in my life. But we found community in the gym, and that wasn't what we were looking for. But we look forward to that. We look forward to the different challenges that a coach in person is giving you, and working out beside someone that pushes you a little differently, and the community that we built there. Just surrounding yourself with like-minded people that have similar or shared goals was a big deal. And that led us into doing our first Spartan this year as a family. Well, Jason and I did the first one because Sienna wasn't old enough to do the adult one, but she did the kid one. So we had a weekend where as a family, we did our first ever obstacle course race, which was a brand new experience that a year ago, definitely didn't think we were doing that.
And it kind of it triggered a change of our mentality. So where we were in the fitness health journey was, trying to eat better, whatever that means, and adding regular exercise. I mean, those things we were doing. So now we were adding this layer of training for a specific event and these obstacles, and wanting to understand the techniques or the particular skills we need to be successful and complete the race in, whatever kind of time that we want. But it kind of shifted us into the mentality of training, fueling for athletic events. So being an athlete and living that every day.
How crazy. Like, that's still so wild for me to think about being an athlete, because I was not a person who ever was. I did not grow up that way. And contrast to Jason, who did grow up that way, I didn't. And I didn't know that it was ever something that I was capable of or even interested in, for that matter. But it's true. It's changed it's changed the family dynamic. We've all fallen in love with it separately and together. All three of us are at the gym 3 days a week. We don't like to miss. We enjoy the challenge. We enjoy trying something new. We enjoy competing when it's race time. And it's been a big impact. And that continued. We also did several race, like 5K. We did a 5K. We started New Year's Day last year, January 1st, 2019, running a 5K as a family. Like, how bananas is that I signed us up for that? That's just so crazy from how different our life is. But that's how we started the year. And then we ran our first 8K as a family in March. And then we ran our first 10K in May. And it was not that long ago, like a little over a year ago, that we did the Couch to 5K app and took 8 weeks to train ourselves just to be able to run 3 miles. I couldn't run 3 miles then, and that was a big deal. It still is a big deal, but then we just kept building upon that and did those things this year as well.
Yeah, and it kind of put things in perspective, because now, 5K is my Wednesday evening, like running. Like that's just
fun run.
That's just the thing.
How
and then, when we do our Sunday long runs, oftentimes that's 10K for me.
And then there's the nutrition side of things, which is ever evolving for all of us, really. I deal with some tummy issues and different things. And we've talked about my blood disease before and how that impacts me. So nutrition is ever evolving for all of us because our bodies are always working to stabilize. So you have to tweak things. If you want different results, you have to do things differently. And that was a new element this year. Seeing how you need to take care of your body from a nutrition perspective to be able to be an athlete, to fuel, like you are literally fueling your body to go out and do this hard workout unlike anything you've ever done, or to do this competition, or to run this race, like to give your body the right nutrients that it needs. That is a learning curve that we hadn't really done before, like Jason mentioned earlier. And so that's evolving, and there's been some things we've done well, and there's been some times that we haven't. I'm currently in a season of just back to a few tummy issues here and there and trying to figure that out. And that is just tweaking this and tweaking that and listening to your body, because all of ours are different all the time. It's a constant battle, but I don't know if it's a battle, but it's a constant thing that we are working on and looking to improve. So that carried out. That's not necessarily new, but the new aspect was, how do you actually like fuel this machine to go out and perform in the way in which you want it to?
Right. It's a whole new layer to it for sure. So, so for me, like I'm thinking, all right, I'm at work and I'm going to go to this training class after work. So at, 3:30, I want to have my snack so that I've got some energy to push me through the workout so that I can perform well at the workout. Because for me, the approach is it's practice. So it's like, it's not, this is my workout of the day where I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm training, so I think of it like soccer practice. So you practice and you prepare for a game. So it's the same thing. I'm practicing for a race, for this competition. So I want to perform well during the practice just as well as during the actual competition.
How funny. You've never said that out loud to me before. I guess I didn't really realize that's how your brain was working through it, but I like that. Good to know. Do you know what else happened this year?
What?
In just February. So again, right towards the beginning of the year in February, I started teaching. I got a job at the Y teaching a group fitness class that I had been certified for about a year. I just hadn't actually done it. I teach a MMA style, like punching, kicking, cardio focused workout called Core to Force at the local YMCA. And I was so nervous about that first class because you just don't know. Like, you just don't know, about anything until you do it for the first time. And oh my goodness, how exhausting, because you're doing the workout. So you're getting in a good workout, but then your energy level needs to be high, and you're talking the whole time throughout the workout, things that you would not normally do. So I came home and was like, holy bazinga. That was a serious workout that I didn't expect, but I fell in love with it from the first day. I love people anyway. I get my energy from people. To be in the front of the room and bring the hype and be excited about it, that just fuels me. And to know that I'm getting to do that through fitness, like empowering women to take care of their bodies and honor their blessing of health, like that was a big positive in our year. So it's been almost a year and I've been teaching ever since. I haven't looked back.
And then you also started teaching a ladies' workout class at our gym. So that was nice too.
Yeah, that's
kinda
nice.
Add that in.
It was an added bonus for our gym for different levels of ladies. And also it's right around the corner from our house. And we already love that space in the community. So that evolved later, like in the fall of this year. But I had already gained the confidence from teaching all year. And I knew I loved it. It had a place in my heart. So we kept rolling with that.
Yeah. So it's just bringing people into fitness and healthy thinking and lifestyle.
Yeah. I think a big change in our year, we are people who love to travel. We do. I mean, we would rather let more adventure, less things. We don't like a lot of stuff. We would rather spend our money on experiences. And for us, experiences are going to new places and seeing new cultures, trying new foods, doing all the things. And we went into this year knowing that this is really funny too. We planned to travel less. Like that was, we were made it a point. It's like, hey, we're going to cut back on our travel this year because we're going to focus a little more on our finances. Little did we know that that was probably a good decision that we made. We'll get into the other big part of that and why but it was different, like not traveling. We actually didn't take a true vacation of sorts this year like we usually do. We didn't visit family like we usually do. We did a couple weekends away and they were surrounded by race weekends for Spartan, which was fun, but not a vacation as we're used to.
We still did our couple weekends, so that doesn't really count. When we plan for the year, you know, we have a quarterly getaway, and getaway could be a staycation, but we still kept those. We just didn't add the extra travel, vacation-y time in.
And even two of those, we were intentional about making staycations. We only actually went away as a couple twice. So it was different, not good or bad. I do really like traveling, so I missed it a little bit, but it was a season. And like I said, we didn't plan for it in what turned out to be the year we sold our house and moved, but it turned out that we needed those extra funds and those finances to make that happen, which leads into our other big life-changing thing that happened this year. We sold our house of 12 years and downsized, which we've talked about in a previous episode, and moved into a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, and we moved into a different kind of lifestyle. So we knew, I mean, we had discussion in the past about kind of how we want to live. So we started kind of seeing what the bridge to that looks like. So for me, I start with the end in mind. You love that one.
Oh, my favorite.
It's true, though.
It's true.
All right. So if we want to live this kind of nomad lifestyle or just more freedom in general, you know, how do we get there? So one of the things was to detach from home ownership. So when you live in an apartment, you're much more portable, I guess. So, you know, we could, at this point, you know, instead of paying rent, put everything in a storage unit for 6 months, 9 months, 2 years, whatever, and just go anywhere.
Which is so freeing to think about it. I love it. I haven't looked back. We live kind of in the heart of the city where we are now. So the ability to walk down, and I can walk to a coffee shop. I can walk to a movie theater. There's a couple restaurants, and it's paved and nice for when we run. We walk to our gym. Like, it's that city feel. Although it's not the big city, it kind of gives us that city feel to it. And I love it. Like, it's quiet. I didn't know what apartment living might be like. You know, sometimes you think about it might be noisy or people disruptive. It's not that. It's conveniently located. It's quiet. It's clean. The people that we do see are kind. And the only hard part of it was actually it was a stressful season of going through the process of selling our house. And we had a financial impact there. I mean, we took a hit and we knew that, and that's poopy. It's poopy to think about that you owned a house for 12 years and you lose money to get out of it. But we bought in the bubble. Like, we bought in 2007 when the market was high and it crashed, and that's where we were, and that was our reality. Now it would have been the same reality a few years from now. So you just go ahead, suck it up, buttercup, take the hit and move on. But it was stressful. It wasn't a smooth process. The home inspection didn't go smoothly, and the appraisal didn't go smoothly, and each stretch of the way it wasn't smooth, and you're trying to find a new place to live and pack your boxes and finish your kids' school year out and all the things. But we got through it. And we purged a lot of stuff, which felt really good. And now it's changed the course of our life because of the lifestyle that we're able to lead. So it sucked in the middle of it. Like, when the bills just kept coming, I was like sick to my stomach, but it was good in the long run.
Yeah, we gained that freedom.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it either. You had a big year.
What was it?
Or a big thing that happened. You are the father of 3 children, and your oldest child graduated high school this year.
That's true.
That must mean you're old.
To college.
Yeah. Like 8 hours away. She graduated high school happily, safely, top of the class, not top, but in the top of the class. She did a great job, and then she went off to college in the fall. How's that feel?
Well, it was interesting for sure. We can do a whole episode on college probably, and I have mixed feelings about college, but it was nice to see her go away, and kind of get to set out on her own and get out of her bubble a little bit and have that go away to college experience.
Yeah, she's home for a Christmas break or holiday break, and she was over the other night, and it was just really cool to like listen to her talk and see her like growing up and coming into her own and having opinions of her own. And
she can vote.
Yeah.
And she's like
excited to cast her vote
and wants everybody to participate in that. So that's really good.
It's like crazy to think that, I mean, I've been a part of her life since she was 3. It's crazy to think that we're here. Like, her and our daughter went off for the afternoon. Like, it was so weird that they could just drive and go somewhere. But it's also another stage of life that it's exciting to see who she's coming into. So that was a positive and weird at the same time that your kid's like grown and off in college now. So that's pretty weird. And then there's our daughter who's still here, still doing her thing, officially turned 14 this year. We went through the season of a first boyfriend.
Oh boy.
Which we made it through unscathed and it was fine. But it's crazy. Like, are we here? Is it time? But it was totally fine. It is time, and it's another season of life. You know, I go back and forth of crying of how fast the years go by, and then excited to see who they're becoming and experiencing the new stages of life with them. She went out for her first ever school sport, which was cool. A little experience for our family. We hadn't done school sports up until that point.
Yeah, and she's played soccer for years and years, but this is really the first year where she's kind of adopted that athlete mindset. And that was, again, go back to Spartans, so triggered from the obstacle course racing, and she excelled at that at her age level, so that just encouraged her more and more. So then when she went out for track, she had a good, she came in with confidence, and she did well for a first time track star.
Yeah, she did. And I think this year, from, the beginning to the end, it was a roller coaster for our family. Like, we started the year, and we talked about that in a previous episode of, 13 was hard, and we But now we're in a good place. We're connected. We're close. We're finishing out. She's going to finish out middle school this year and enter into that new stage of life. So that's a little bit crazy, but I feel solid with where we are as a family. I think all of us, all three of us, have really like taken to our new lifestyle of apartment living and taken to our new athlete lifestyle at the gym. And it just bonds us and we're close and that feels good.
Yeah, she adapted pretty well to the apartment for sure.
Yeah.
I think she likes it.
I agree. I think she does as well.
She invites friends over, like she thinks is bougie because there's a little lounge thing that she can just have her friends hang out in.
She's here for anything bougie. That's for sure. I think if I look specifically at my year, there were a couple of areas that I went into, one specifically that I went into it planning to focus on, and I didn't. And I don't feel good about it currently. And it's something that I'll tweak going into 2020. Jason and I haven't had this conversation out loud yet, but I know like finances are kind of a weird thing in our house. And I think maybe we've covered this in a previous episode, but I tend to just be a person who likes to have my finger on the pulse of the finances. And Jason is the person who pays the bills in this house. That's just kind of how the duty fell. He pays the bills. I spend the money for the most part. And I mean that by I'm the one that grocery shops and buys the gifts and does the things. And so I don't always feel like I have my finger on the pulse of like what our true financial status is. That might sound weird, but I don't. And I wanted to change that and I didn't really. And then the year got crazy with selling the house and taking hits, and it just felt really stressful. And I just took my foot off the gas and kind of tucked my head in the sand about it. And I can't say I'm finishing out the year feeling good about it. I honestly don't know where we are financially for the most part. The lights are still on, so I think we're doing okay. But I want to get more involved in that going into 2020. That'll be a big area of focus for me, is just making sure that I understand what's going on and what I'm doing and how that's impacting it. Because we have goals for our future and I want to make sure. And part of that means that we need to budget for that and make wise decisions. Not that I don't think we do, but when you don't know, you tend to make up a worst case scenario in your mind. A few episodes back, we talked about the need to track. It's the same idea. If you're not tracking and you don't really know, then you're probably playing worst case scenario in your head. And that's where I'm at. So that's a focus for me.
We track all of our spending. You just don't look at it very often. So I think that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, two things. Look at it and then
improve it.
Kind of budget. So
yeah.
Just be more intentional on where everything's going, because like I mentioned, moving was kind of one step towards freedom. Well, there's other steps. So kind of dialing in where money goes is going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, that's a big one for this year. Another one for me, it's really important to me to keep in touch with people. I love people. And for me, keeping in touch is checking in with them, scheduling lunch dates or coffee dates, making sure our birthday card arrives on time, or a little gift that I'm thinking about you or whatever. And I think I started the year strong like I always do, because that is a strong suit of mine. I'm usually Johnny on the spot with that kind of stuff. And as life took over, I let that take a back burner. And that's just been sitting on my heart. That's no one said like, where's my birthday card? Of course, that's just me. It's a way that I like to show up for people. And I don't feel like I did my best this whole year doing that. So for me, going into 2020 is just redirecting, dialing back into that and making sure that the people who are close to me and I care about, that I show up for them in the ways that are important to me.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things for you is consistency, because you have lots of things you want to do all the time, and that's just one of them. Just figuring out how to check all those boxes every day, every week, whatever it is.
All right, I talked about two of mine. What about you? How'd you do this year? You had anything personally like sitting on your chest you need to air right now?
For last year, for 2019,
Are you stalling? Are you just repeating the question so that you can stall?
Yeah, that's a tactic.
A tactic, eh? Well, we're still killing airtime here. What you got?
Let me find that horn sound effect.
Oh, boy. Finding the horn sound effect. Nope, we're not doing that. It's fine. You can say you were perfect all year and you have nothing that is kind of sitting with you.
No, I think, 2019 for me is, I'm sure there were some goals that we didn't hit the mark on, but, and some intentions that we need to kind of refocus on. But, looking ahead to 2020, it's, layering in more positive things.
I don't think that was an answer. It was a good job not answering the question. I wasn't
prepared for that one.
I know. I threw you on the spot. But a big thing that just happened this week, I'll move on since he doesn't have an actual answer, but we got our letters in the mail. It's an early Christmas present, like the day before Christmas. Our letters arrived, and through the last 6 weeks, we've been studying and reviewing and doing all the things, and we... Yes, it's time. It's time for the horn. We are both now officially certified personal trainers. That is a big deal. We went through the process and we did it, and I don't think that was on your heart a year ago, was it?
No, that wasn't on the radar. So, we've been helping people, and we've had that goal and that intention and kind of that business model for a while. So this just adds an element to it. And again, it kind of was triggered from the gym and that community experience and having kind of that hands-on local way to help people.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And we haven't even done our full 2020 planning, so I'm not even exactly sure how it'll all plan out, but it's cool. Our letters came on December 23rd and we both passed. It was hard, let me just say. We weren't sure how that was going to go, but we did great. And we have these new certifications and a new way to help people, a new tool in our toolbox. And I don't know exactly where it'll lead, but I'm going to take you along with us on the journey through podcast episodes and through our social medias, Phillips-LeVan over on Instagram or Blaine Phillips. And we're just going to share life, but I'm excited for the new adventure. That's perfect timing leading into a new year of this brand new thing that you get to shine up and see what you can make of it. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's one of my goals, is to kind of be present on the socials.
Yeah.
Or on the Instagram.
On the Instagram.
And then on, of course, the TikTok.
Oh, yes. The TikTok. His debut was really good. Really, really good.
Pretty good.
So I think that kind of wraps up the year, just looking back at the highs, the lows, where we hit the mark, where we're a little off. And this next few days, as we head into my favorite holiday of the year, we'll continue looking back at those things. But really, it's more about looking ahead. What do we want out of the year? We kind of hit all those major points, like travel. Where do we want to go this year? What are we doing? And then that feeds right into finances. If you want to take a trip, then you need to plan for that in your budget. And are there bills that we need to pay off, or what do we want to do? So we'll take a big scope in travel and plug in our couples getaways and any races that we're doing. And then we'll slide on over to the finances and look at how that impacts that. And what are we doing there? And what are our goals as individuals? And this is all three of us having this conversation. And then what are our goals as a family? How can we help support each other? But the big key when it comes to goals, it's great to dream and it's great to look at big picture. But if you don't dial it down and focus on little bite-sized goals along the way, it's too overwhelming. So we like to look a month at a time. We have that big, grand vision casting session, and then we just dial it back. As Jason would say, we start with the end in mind, and then we dial it back and see what are the little steps that actually get us there. Yeah,
and we've got episodes about that. We could probably link to those if we remember. So last year, for sure, I think we had some New Year's type of episodes, how we do it exactly. But yeah, it's really about having that vision, but then having some focus on the short term.
The plan that'll get you there.
Right.
We're excited to enter into a new year. We're excited to enter into it with you, to do life together. That's what the title of the podcast is, and that's what we do. That's our focus here on the podcast, on the blog, on the socials, and in all the ways that we can help you as personal training clients and in online clients, and whatever that looks like, is to help you and to do it together. So keep coming back. We're forever grateful that you're here. We're grateful that you spread the word and tell a friend that they should listen to this podcast. We're grateful for your feedback when you're like, hey, can you do an episode about this or that? Yeah, we got you, girl. We're grateful for all the things. So Happy New Year.
Oh, wait, I didn't have my horn out.
Oh, no, we didn't have the horn. All right. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy
We'll
New
see you
Year.
next week.